Hey, hey there, friend. Hey, oh my gosh. It's like I'm just playing with y'all. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Courtney. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's probably been a little bit minute. I've been just kind of getting started with this new job and everything, so my schedule's kind of been hectic. So as far as like uploading and doing all this stuff or whatever, but I am back. But I'm kind of gonna let y'all know in advance. It probably I don't know, I probably will be uploading every 2 weeks instead of every week. We'll see how everything goes, but for the meantime I probably will be uploading every other week, like so every 2 weeks. But I always will be making sure that I'm uploading something to my channel, whatever, for you guys to see, uploading any content. So yeah, just keep just what the freak is this? I'm sorry. So just look out for that or whatever. Just look out for any content that I'm posting, whether it's TikToks, whether it's try on hauls, whether it's just vlogs or get ready with me, anything, just outfit try-ons, anything or whatever. So yeah, so without further ado, let's get into it. This is gonna be another story time, of course. Because it's been a while since I did that. I'm sorry, I don't know why. I've just got a lot of burps going on. It's getting on my nerves. Whatever. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I can't get this out of me. Okay. So this story time, you know, finally we ended it with the whole California and bimbo situation or whatever, which I'm so happy about. Excuse me, I'm tired of talking about them. I'm tired of dealing with all that, for real. So last time I had left off with y'all was about the whole coworker friend group gone wrong or whatever. So last video that I left off, it pretty much was talking about how me and Bo, the dude that I was kind of like sort of talking to, kind of, it kind of got real weird and messy or whatever. And pretty much because I wasn't, you know, willing to, you know, be intimate with him in that kind of way or do other things with him, he started kind of moving kind of funny. He started bringing another woman into kind of like the group or whatever, and it kind of made things awkward. And I just felt like it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of just mostly me thinking like, Bo, it's like, you know, regardless of whether we didn't even really have a conversation about the whole thing. That's what I'm just thinking. It's just like, it wasn't really any, you know, we really didn't have any closure about it. I don't know what it is with dudes, but they, for some reason, they just was like, you know, they just move like, okay, this happened, whatever, moving on or whatever. Like, they don't seem to have any kind of closure with the person that they was like talking to or dealing with. And like I said, me and Bo were not intimate. However, you know, you're doing all this pursuing, you know, you trying to talk to me, you doing all this stuff or whatever. We're having this deep, intimate conversations. We're having video conversations. We're video chatting. We're messaging each other. We're talking on the phone. It's like how all of a sudden you just you start moving funny or whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, it's a ninja gonna be a ninja. So that's just what it is. So I was just like, you know, he was just moving funny, of course. And, you know, by him moving funny, that impacted the, you know, the kind of interaction as far as like the whole friend group or whatever. Because, you know, the guys, they had, like I said before my last story time, they had their own kind of alliance with each other or whatever. And that's just how guys are in general. You could be cheating on her, doing her wrong. You could be beating on her. You could be doing whatever you want, but the dude is always going to take the other dude's side. Like, or at least for most of them. Not all of them, because I'm not going to speak on all of them. Not all dudes are like that. But most dudes, like whatever, it's like bros before hoes. Like, that's their motto or whatever. So, you know, even though he was moving weird, moving funny, all of them, like Akaski, B, I want to say Messy, because she was kind of weird though, on and off, because she low-key wanted to mess with Bo. And that's what those are the main people in the group. I can't count Jordan, my aka my husband, because he just was like chill. He was silent the whole time. Like, that's just who he is. He quiet. He mind his business. Like, if you're not like a real close friend to him, he stay out of the way. He mind his business. But yeah, like, out of those three, like, I felt like they were all more so kind of gravitating towards Bo. They were taking his side more than me, and it was just like, it was real weird. So it was kind of starting to get awkward, and you know, Bo was starting to bring, I named her in the last story time. I know what I named her. Eyeshadow. I named her Eyeshadow. Bo was starting to bring eyeshadow around more into the group, whatever, and it was starting to make things awkward. And I felt like the guys, as far, you know, like, even probably Messy, but as far as like Akaski, I'm not sure about B, but Akaski, Bo, and Mesky, not Mesky, Messy. So it was Bo, Akaski, and Messy. I feel like they were more so getting a kick out of the fact that it was this awkwardness and it was this tension between me, Eyeshadow, and Bo going on, because of the fact that Bo was being messy. And that's when I kind of started to look at them kind of sideways, because it was kind of like, what are y'all getting out of this? Like, we all supposed to be cool, whatever. And it's like, Bo, what are you getting out of this? I just don't understand. And some dudes, just side note, some dudes really like the fact that it's girls arguing over them or competing against them or whatever, or arguing over them or whatever. And in this instance, it really wasn't, did I kind of get caught up in my feelings and stuff? Yes, I'm gonna be honest or whatever. I'm gonna completely, you know, be completely transparent and real with y'all, whatever. I did feel some kind of way, because of course I did have feelings for Bo or whatever, because of the times, you know, the times that we spent together, the conversations that we had together, you know, as much as we've interacted with each other, it was, you know, it was just like, that's just freaking weird. Like, it's just crazy how you can spend time with somebody, or you can get to know somebody, or you can confide in someone, or they can confide in you, and then the next thing you know, they on to the next, or they can just flip it on you or whatever. So that was just really weird to me. I just did not understand like what Bo was doing. He was acting like a weirdo. He really was. He was. And it's no other way around it. He was acting like a weirdo. And that's just what it is. But I still just kept trying to, like, you know, move forward with them and try to still hang out with them or whatever, hang out with the group or whatever, because, you know, of course you can't let like one situation with one person like hinder, like, you know, your relationship with everybody else in the group, whatever. But like I said, once I started to see everybody else's behavior within the group, you know, and I started to figure out other little things, like them talking little stuff behind the back. Because like I said, you know how guys do. They gossip worse than females. So behind your, you know, in front of your face or whatever, they might say like, oh, what's up with this and that and every year. But behind your back, it's a completely different thing. Like, yeah, like she a B, and she and all this and that. And she weird, and she doing all this. And it's like, why are you coming at me and you're doing all this stuff and I didn't even do anything to you? and this has nothing to do with you. This is between me and Bo, whatever. And that's where everything kind of just went left. It was just like, if this has something to do with me and Bo, let it stay between me and Bo. Like, if y'all all getting caught up in something that has nothing to do with y'all, number one. And number two, y'all automatically are just assuming that I was the problem or I was the issue. Y'all automatically are just jumping to Bo's defense or his side or whatever. And it's just like, that's crazy. You know, like, even if you feel that way, it's just like, if you really feel like I'm moving funny and I'm doing all this, why didn't you come to me as a friend and say how you felt? And two, like, just why are you even friends with me to begin with? That's why I just felt like this whole friend group and stuff, it was just a waste of time. Like, it was just a waste of my time, it's a waste of their time. It was like, why were we really like hanging out with each other to begin with? I just felt like it was just a huge waste of time on my end and on their end. Because I had nothing but pure intentions on my side or whatever. But I don't really know what their intentions were on their side, so, but like I said, I had mentioned it in a previous story time. Akaski had, told me or whatever, when he had first approached me about hanging out with the group or whatever, he was saying, a colleague or older colleague or woman or whatever who I'm cool, friends with or I'm cool with, she had came to them and was saying, stop being mean to her, stop looking at her funny, stop laughing at her or whatever, or I'm gonna go to HR. And I said in that last story time, I said, I kind of checked her because I was like, don't do that. Don't make them seem like I'm this girl that's just running to HR doing all this stuff. I can handle myself. I'm almost 30 years old. Like, I'm older than pretty much most of them people, most of those people in the group, whatever. It wasn't a issue of them like laughing and giggling. I just wanted to figure out what was the issue with them looking at me or whatever. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a situation where I need to feel like I need to go to HR. And I never went to HR. I never, I've never been that kind of chick ever. Like, it's, I can handle myself. I'm not worried about that. So maybe Akaski and all of them had kind of took that and kind of decided, oh, let's befriend her. And then, maybe she won't go to HR on us. She won't do this to us or what. She won't, do the most or whatever. But little did they know, like, if that was their intention, that's not what I was going to do. I wasn't worried about that. If anything, I would have just confronted them or talked to them about it, because most people don't know I'm quiet and I'm a little, a little something or whatever for my age. But I speak my mind and I say what I have to say. And I would have approached them, sooner or later and say, like, what's the issue or whatever, like I do most people. You'd be surprised. I approach a lot of people and they be shook or they be surprised or whatever that I'm approaching them. So I've never been that, I was never going to go to HR or anything about it. So maybe they had befriended me low-key because they had thought that I was going to go to HR or something to report them for laughing at me. But that's the most stupid thing you can go to HR about. I mean, I kind of get it, why you would, but I wouldn't. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that I could have gone to HR about. We're working at Macy's or whatever, but no, no, it wasn't that deep. I just wanted to figure out, like, it was just weird, whatever. But I don't know, I kind of felt like in the back of my mind later on, like maybe they were just using me, kind of just trying to keep, save face, like kind of, just trying to keep them out of trouble or whatever, and that was never my intention. I was never going to do that. So as everything started to quickly unfold, it just got real weird. And the less I started, like I said in last story time, the less I started hanging around them, they started just talking more and more, of course, gossiping and stuff like that. And of course, like I figured out later on, they was talking a lot of stuff about me, and that it was just crazy. But it was before I got with Jordan that all this stuff started happening. And it was, I felt like once I got with Jordan, it started getting messier. But before I got with Jordan, it was just like, you know, once I stopped hanging around him and stuff like that, it would just be like, you know, we all work together and stuff. So, of course, we're passing each other. We're seeing each other in passing. We might, you know, stare at each other, make eye contact, walk past each other, but that's about it or whatever. It's not really anything. And if someone ever did talk to me, the most out of anybody would talk to me, it would be Akaski. To be honest, that's the only person that would speak to me out of anybody. Bo would not speak to me. Messy was acting like a weirdo. She thought for some reason that I was gonna kiss her tail. Because I mentioned another previous story time about how she was moving funny and stuff like that. Of course, I was talking to B on and off because B had low-key kind of put me on to the stuff that Messy was doing and the stuff that just was going on in general, whatever. So pretty much Akaski, I would talk to him or see him in passing, and then B, I would talk to him, you know, just in passing, of course, occasionally, whatever. I follow him on Snap and stuff like that, and that's pretty much it, whatever. And Jordan, because of course we had gotten in contact around the time after I stopped hanging out with that group or friend group or whatever, and we had started getting close as friends, and then before you know, we started talking and dating and stuff like that. And that's what the next story time is going to be. Yeah, I think that's what the next time is going to be, how me and Jordan started dating. But yeah, whatever. Look at me getting all giddy about Jordan. I'm tired of it. But yeah, but pretty much those are the only people that I pretty much talked to or whatever. And it was just, you know, it was just a little weird. Every time we would have, like, you know, Akaski would have little get-togethers and stuff like that. We would all be hanging out. It was just, of course, Bo would bring eyeshadow and stuff like that on break or whatever. Bo would have eyeshadow with him and stuff like that. It was just, it was starting to get real awkward, and I was just, it was already tension between me and eyeshadow, and I was like, look, I'm not about to be freaking doing this. We already had a little episode when Akaski had his little function at his house or whatever. I'm not doing this again or whatever. Like, you know, I'm chilling. I'm tired. Well, no. This was before me and Jordan had started talking and stuff. This is before me and Jordan had started talking. This is before. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. Yeah. But pretty much on and off, the real tea, the reason why this is like a real short story is because the real tea is not going to start until me and Jordan started dating, because that's when I started figuring out the real. That's when I started figuring out, like, what was really going on, what was really being said about me, whether it was before or after me and Jordan started dating. But pretty much, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it started getting weird or whatever. I started hanging around them more, or at least I started getting cool with Messy. At least me and Messy started getting cool because Messy had reached out to me at work or whatever. Me and her had kind of saw each other, and she had told me that she had this event or whatever in Hagerstown or whatever, because I had lived in Hagerstown at the time, and her some other couple friends were attending this little event at this little lounge or whatever, and they wanted to hang out or whatever, and me and Jordan were dating at that time. But I felt that's even getting farther ahead. That's not even a farther ahead. That's not even like at the point where I'm at right now, whatever. But the next video that I'm gonna have is going to be once me and Jordan started officially like dating, once we started talking, once we started doing everything or whatever. So this is just like a pretty much just a little bit of a just a little short little summary of pretty much everything that was going on with that little toxic little coworker friend group or whatever. And it's also kind of a reason why I don't hang out with people from work and stuff no more. Not that you can't have a decent coworker friend group or a decent friend group, but for some reason, I don't know, like, I just give off this thing where it's like, pick on her, try her, push her, manipulate her, use her, like, I don't know why I give off this kind of energy or whatever. And then when I start getting nasty, that's when people start getting like weird, or what, even weirder, not just weird, but even weirder. So yeah, that's pretty much what kind of happened or whatever with that friend group. That's pretty much like just a little short summary or whatever from everything that's happened. The next story is going to be pretty much the whole origin of me and Jordan getting together, and all the drama that not only comes with me and him being together, but as far as like the whole drama left over from being, you know, attached, or, you know, associated with that whole weird friend group or whatever. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for this little quick little story time or whatever. I hope it wasn't too long for y'all. I'm gonna start trying to make my story times a little bit shorter so you guys can enjoy it a little bit more and understand it a little bit more or whatever. But yeah, the next story time, I probably will be uploading another one later on this week. But for the meantime, I'm just gonna be doing some try on hauls, so just look out for that on my channel. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, so just keep up, just follow, whatever, just keep up with your girl. Yeah, so that's it for all this time. Yeah, bye.